When my grandmother died, she left behind a small wooden box tucked in the back of her linen closet, with a handwritten note tied to the latch with a faded ribbon. For whoever finds what I couldn't say. Inside was a single, sepia-toned photograph of her as a young woman, standing in a sun-dappled garden beside a man I didn't recognize, their shoulders touching, her head thrown back in a laugh I'd never heard. He wasn't my grandfather. The back of the photo read, in her elegant, looping script, Summer, 1954, when we still believed in timing. I'd grown up thinking my grandparents had one of those quiet, solid marriages built on shared chores and gentle sarcasm, a partnership of practicality. But this photo looked like something else entirely, something alive, almost reckless, a side of her I never knew existed. In the box, wrapped carefully in a linen handkerchief that still smelled faintly of her lavender sachet, was a simple gold ring. It wasn't her wide, familiar wedding band. This one was slender, unadorned. I showed it to my mother, hoping for an answer. She turned it over in her palm, frowning. "That's not your grandfather's. I've never seen it before. Maybe it's a family heirloom from her mother's side?" But I knew it wasn't. The air in the room felt heavy with a story left untold. A final confession she couldn't voice. 2 weeks later, haunted by the image, I was in her back old garden, the one she'd tended every morning for 40 years, which was still blooming wild and untamed around the moss-covered stone bench where she used to read her romance novels. On a pure, aching instinct, I knelt down in the soft, dark earth and started digging near the base of the problem and the dies down in the starred. Ancient rosebush she'd always called the lucky one, the one that bloomed the fiercest red. After a few inches, my fingers hit something cold and solid, a small, rusted tin box, its lid sealed tight against the decades. Inside, protected from the elements, was a single sheet of paper, the ink slightly blurred in places, as if by dew or tears. It began, "My darling Thomas, I promised to wait for you. Then life asked me to stay for someone else. If you ever come back and find this, know that I never stopped thinking of that summer, or the sound of your laugh when it rained. You taught me my own heart." There was no signature, just a single, perfectly pressed rose petal, now fragile as memory and dry as ash. I sat there on the damp ground for a long time, the garden buzzing softly with bees and the weight of the secret, the letter trembling in my hand. I realized, then she hadn't been hiding a sordid affair. She'd been tenderly keeping a memory safe, one moment of wild, impossible, star-aligned love she'd never had the courage to name aloud. A beautiful, painful what-if that had lived alongside her. What was? That night, as the moon rose, I carefully placed the letter back in the tin, sealed it, and reburied it beneath the lucky rose. Not to hide it away in shame, but to keep it where she had always left her heart, among the living, growing things. Now, whenever a soft summer rain begins to fall, I look out at the garden and I imagine her young again, her hair dark and long, standing in that same spot with Thomas, both of them laughing like time hadn't yet asked her to choose, and like some loves are so pure, they deserve to be buried like treasure, not forgotten like secrets. Some loves aren't meant to be lived only, remembered, so the heart never forgets it was once brave enough to feel.